Hi, I'm Colette Gallagher.
And I'm Vince Polito, and we're the founders of the Inner Coaching Academy.
Welcome to the Inner Coaching Podcast, where we show you how to create powerful transformation and lasting change in the areas of relationship, addiction, trauma, health, and business.
Inner Coaching optimizes performance by addressing and clearing the underlying mental, emotional, and physiological causes of suffering, which then results in the wonderful experience of true self-realization. Welcome to episode 2. You may be wondering, what does an inner coaching session look like? Today, Colette and I are going to reveal what's going on inside of an inner coaching session, what we're looking for, how we work, how the clients benefit, and how it can benefit you. We're going to talk today about what to experience or what you can experience inside of an inner coaching session. What actually takes place? What's the terrain like? What are we navigating through? And what can you expect inside of this type of experience for yourself? What are our clients saying? What does it look like? Just kind of peeling back the curtain a little bit and saying, here's what's happening inside of a session so that you can understand what makes inner coaching so unique from other forms of coaching and even distinct from therapeutic models. There's a lot of therapeutic training and models and principles and practices that weave into some of the inner coaching work, but we also bring a very unique coaching element to it, and we operate from a very different premise than a typical therapist or even a counselor, and we'll talk a little bit about that here. So I would like to just have Colette share a little bit about herself and some, maybe just your background, Colette. You've been coaching for quite some time. Why don't you just let people know a little bit about that and some of your experience here with inner coaching, and then we'll move forward into the session description.
Yeah, for sure. So I've been in the coaching space for, like 5 years now. I started off with a dating product, helping people align to their highest and best mate and make the dating process fun. I saw that was missing. There's a lot of people teaching manipulation tactics and how to win the guy or how to text the guy. And I'm like, this is crap, like no offense, but I wanted an authentic way to meet somebody who lit you up. And so that's where I started in the coaching space. And I realized the importance of trauma and shadow integration with the coaching, because there's a lot of fear, especially with dating, but with any area or any change in someone's life, there's a lot of fear that comes up and they just stop. I've led a lot of mastermind groups. I've done a lot of group coaching work. And what I realized is if you just write down goals and you try to push yourself forward, you're not going to get very far because all of your stuff's going to come up and try to keep you safe. It's not a bad thing, but because that's what it's there for. It's there to keep you safe and out of harm's way. But when you're trying to make changes, it's not really helpful. Right. So, so I saw the need to integrate some shadow and trauma integration techniques and practices into my coaching. And that's when I met Vince. It's funny how the universe works. You ask and you receive. And so he reached out to me on LinkedIn, and I was like, yeah, this is what I'm looking for people. So it worked out.
That's great. That's great. I love that you brought all that, the element of the shadow integration, trauma integration, and, to be more specific about what that entails. Actually, I want to point to the logo first, but if you look at Colette's screen, she's actually got our Inner Coaching Academy logo in the back. And, we chose the image of a heart and a brain. I chose that image of the brain and the heart because unifying brain and heart are really integral, as well as body. The circle represents the body, the wholeness, the completeness. There's a lot of symbolism in there, but we are addressing the often hidden aspects of human performance. That's what inner coaching is about. We're looking at the inner world, what's going on in thought, emotion, feeling, sensation of the body that's driving behaviors, that's driving the efforting impulses that seem to run automatically. And so we bring a lot of attention and I should say more of awareness to these inner realms. And actually just the practice of bringing awareness to these hidden realms creates a tremendous amount of freedom for people, relaxation, greater ease and efficiency. It makes it possible to have better relationships, like Colette realized when she was working with people, that it's not just about action. It's not just about doing the right things. And I think any real serious coach who's really concerned about a person's performance is eventually going to have to move deeper into the inner world and start to be able to handle things like the shadow, the unintegrated aspects of a person's personality, memory, their experiences, the deeper reasons, the deeper underlying causes that are impeding their performance, that are preventing the type of activity that's going to give them what they want, or that perpetuates activity that keeps bringing them what they say that they don't want. Everything's happening for a reason. Those reasons can be discovered. Sometimes they're not always logical. A lot of the time, in fact, most of the time, they're more somatic or oriented in the realm of the body and the emotional terrain. And so that's some of the territory that inner coaching covers. And we work within the mind, we work within emotion, we work within the body. But this is not therapy. We're not clinical therapists. We're not trying to be. We don't diagnose you. We don't look at your symptoms. We're not dealing with concepts and ideas like schizophrenia, bipolar, and that's not the approach. Our approach is you have the ability to transform your mind, your emotions, your body, your being, your activity, and create the life that really works for you. You just need some support in accessing, witnessing, discovering what's been going on behind the scenes. We expect you to be fairly okay. You're not in dire straits mentally and emotionally and struggling just to manage your basic life. Although we've been able to perform exceedingly wonderful things with some people like that, friends of ours, people we work with occasionally, but, go to a professional therapist if that's really where you're at. But if life's, you're managing life, but things are not working and you're suffering in some way, you're struggling, you can't get these breakthroughs, and you just, maybe there's some unresolved history stuff and, but you don't want to go to a therapist. You don't want the stigma of a therapist. You don't want to be diagnosed or labeled. That's not going to serve you. You don't want medication. It doesn't seem like it's going to serve you. If you're aware that that's really not it for you and you're sure of that, then inner coaching can be for you. If you're wanting to just improve performance in any area of your life and you're already doing really well, inner coaching just gives you greater access to the inner workings of your own mental, emotional programming and conditioning so that you can modify and tweak and mod your human machine or the human mind body system that really is at the root of all the functioning that you're experiencing in your life. So that's what we're up to here. Started to discuss a little bit of the terrain. Colette, I hear or can sense that you want to pop in here, so I can see that. What do you got to offer?
Oh yeah, and just to add that it's mainly for people that want to make changes in their life, and there's too many options. It's too confusing. And they just want some guidance into themselves, because that's what we do. We don't tell you what to do, clearly, and Vince is going to talk about that. But we guide you into yourself so that you're making that decision from an aligned place, from the inside, so that you're truly happy in the direction that you go. So that's
very well said. Very well said. That's why inner coaching is so empowering, because it really is. So again, some of the distinctions between inner coaching versus therapy is we understand that you're already perfect, exactly the way you are, that you're working perfectly. Even if there are things in your life that you say you don't want, they're there for reasons. Like there's specific mechanical law-based functions governing those particular experiences, habits, the behaviors, the results that you have. Inner coaching gives you access to those particular areas where the programming and the conditioning is, gives you ability to see it for yourself. It's not based on my point of view. You get to see for yourself what's happening. And my job, or Colette's job, or our other partner Charlie's job, is to support you in having an access, an inner view, an inner window into what's been going on. And so we start to ask certain questions. We deal a lot with relaxation and calming the mind-body system, which facilitates a greater degree of awareness. There's a lot of neuroscience involved in what I've been teaching in the methodology, which is why it works so well, because again, it's following scientific principles. And so we can guarantee these specific results or outcomes with clients over and over. Whether or not you know about the details of that, the education of that is not important, although it can be helpful to have some of that knowledge. And sometimes we do educate our clients. So that's some of what will happen inside of a session sometimes, is that they learn some of the neuroscience, the biochemistry, the physiology, like what's going on inside of you, mechanically speaking. So it's just like if I were a mechanic, I might start to explain to you why your car engine isn't functioning right now. I might explain to you the different parts that have gone on alignment, or something blew, or something's missing or dirty, or some part needs to be changed. And I'll start to maybe explain a little bit about how it works, but I might not give you all the download of my knowledge. Like a mechanic's just not going to go there, but they have years of experience. So we deal with machines, a lot of the human machinery, and we have a way of helping you navigate that. Unfortunately, we grow up in a world where there isn't a consensus and an agreement to educate and inform children on how they work, how they function. How does the human mind actually function? How do emotions function? How do they interrelate? How does that connect and correlate to behavior? And what can you do about it? And what are the practices and the ways of being with self and with others that facilitate greater degrees of awareness and connection to these particular functions? So we've just spent a lot of time in this domain because my life wasn't working. I struggled and I needed to figure out how to turn my life around. It led me to these discoveries. And now I'm passionate, and Colette is also passionate about bringing this understanding and the tools and the practices and the ways of being to people everywhere. So I'll pause here. Is there anything you want to add to that, Colette, before I start to open the session a little bit further?
Yeah, just about trusting ourselves. That's part of our session, is helping you trust yourself again, because a lot of times from childhood experiences, we're taught not to trust ourselves, that it's not safe to trust ourselves. And so part of our inner coaching is to help you trust yourself again and feel safe in your body, because that's another thing that we notice with a lot of our clients is there's just so much going on in their life. They're busy, they don't really have time to get grounded and centered into themselves, and they're just ignoring their bodies. So I'm excited for Vince to share more about our sessions.
Again, thank you for these inserts. They're so valuable. So yeah, it's true. Not only are they ignoring their bodies, they're actually also ignoring emotions and ignoring even various thought patterns or images or, conclusions that were formed. They're just out of view. So when we talk about the shadow, we mentioned the word shadow integration. Integration means to make everything come together in its whole working system. So when it's integrated, the system is all the parts are there and they're all working together well. And a disintegrated or unintegrated system would be, parts are missing or excluded. And so in inner coaching, the premise is that all of the parts of you, all the different aspects of your personality, all of your experiences, all of your emotions, all of your thoughts, and all of the feelings and sensations in the body are important. So trusting yourself, again, that Colette was pointing to, is a really good thing. But a lot of people don't understand what that means. Trusting oneself means trusting that if there's fear there, that's important. If there's uncertainty, if there's worry, if there's concern, it's important. It's important in that it just has information. So what a lot of people do not realize is, and what inner coaching helps resolve rapidly for people, is that there's a tremendous amount of resistance and conflict to our own existence and our own natural functionings. And this conflict, believe it or not, is the result of so many problems, and if not almost all of them, that we experience in our own personal lives and our own personal experience within our mind-body system, our relationships, our desires to achieve goals and to perform better in any particular area of our life. This internal conflict is typically natural, and it develops very simply. We learn through parenting that's imperfect, but the best that it could be. And our parents always do the best job that they can. Everyone's doing the best job that they can. So there's no shaming or blaming or make wrong on parents. What do they know? There's so much that they don't know. And they provide as best they can, but they can often fail to be supportive at critical moments where you're experiencing something, an emotion, a thought, an action, or the way they try to correct you or teach you or change you or fix you, can have you then suppress certain feelings, certain emotions, certain thoughts. And so over time, over many, many years, you begin to learn in social groups in school, from your teachers, in class, what's allowed, what's not allowed. And so we get pretty much habitually trained and conditioned automatically growing up that there are parts of us that are not acceptable, that are not allowed here. And so we learn to shut them off in order to survive and stay connected to the tribe, the group that we're in. And we don't want to lose that. That's our safety. We're small, they're big, the world's big, I need protectors. So we hold on to all that, and we'll do anything to get their approval and maintain that connection, which means if I have to deny all parts of myself that could get me kicked out of this situation, these group of people, that my family, then I'm going to do that. And so inner coaching resolves this conflict. It resolves this suppression. It helps you make peace with the parts of you that you believed were not acceptable. And it may seem simple and oversimplified, but it's a tremendously powerful experience. So as far as the session design goes, a big part of our work is just starting to explore what's been going on, and then having you, which is the awareness component, probably the first tool that we're teaching you. And this is a training. It's not just, we're not just coaching on actions to take. We're training you on ways of being with yourself and with others if we're doing relational coaching, which is a big part of what we do almost always, even if you're coming in a one-to-one session. But you're learning how to become more aware of thought, emotion, feeling, sensation, and effort. There are 4 major domains that we're exploring as far as we consider the individual person to be. So thought, emotion, feelings and sensations of the body, which are not emotions. We're talking about the tightness, the tension, the pains, the discomforts, the tingles, the butterflies, the icky feeling in my stomach. My heart feels closed. Those are feeling sensations. And then efforts, there's like this effort, like the intention to take action could be an effort. It could be subtle, right? The effort could lead to actual actions. But the efforting is like where thought and emotion connect to the physical body and have an expression of sorts, right? It may not be a full expression where I'm actually efforting to take a walk. I might have the effort to walk, but not be able to walk. Someone might be resisting me. I might have the effort to get an abuser off of me, but my efforts are not operating through my body. So I can have effort internally, but maybe something's frozen and I'm not able to push this person off of me. So the effort will be there, but the effort was not fulfilled. And so there's some subtle parts of ourselves that are important to connect with, to re-explore and to give full cycle to. And that's part of healing the trauma process. It's giving the full cycle of completion of the trauma response that maybe was inhibited. So trauma really is the result of a lack of fulfillment of the nervous system's response and its intent, right? To have us fight back or to flee the situation. We end up freezing, and that ends up leaving because we can't take that action. We can't run, we can't fight. And so that leaves us with this stuckness. And I never got to complete the cycle of action that my nervous system, my brain, my body were designed from the beginning to have functional. And so we give it freedom to have its full cycle. Awareness is key. Okay, we're looking to just become aware of what typically is not in full view. So your body's going through stuff all the time. You're having different emotional experiences, and there are various thoughts that are running. And they're like usually like right there, just below the conscious level. They're not super subconscious. They're just like, they're right there. And like with just a few guided questions, maybe some relaxation first and then some guided questions, awareness can be given to these domains. And suddenly you have this inner view. What you have to realize is that the majority of people, probably you included, spend most of your day doing stuff for other people, for yourself out here in this world out here. And there's a lot of negligence to the world internally. And so when you're in an inner coaching session, it's suddenly like, it's like spa time for the soul. You get to finally give back attention to that inner world that's so often neglected. And so that alone can be tremendously healing in itself, just by getting awareness. Like, oh my God, like these thoughts have been running. Oh, wow, this emotion, I've been feeling anger this whole time. I didn't even realize it. Or my body, there's tightness everywhere. And like, I just work through that all day long, every day, and don't even realize it. So just getting aware of that starts to bring a tremendous amount of relief to clients right away. I'll pause there and see if Colette, you want to add anything.
Yeah, that was great, Vince. So part of what we do is we work one-on-one and we work in groups. And the reason we do that is because a lot of these times we are not witnessed. We're not able to fully feel and see, like Vince was saying. And so I'd love for you to talk more about like why it's important, like why we can't do it by ourselves, right?
Yeah.
Like why even get coaching if I can just look at my body on my own, right?
Yeah.
Because it sounds simple enough, right? Okay, I look at what's going on in my body. I can do that, but there's a reason that we do it with somebody and in groups. So
Yeah, great question. So yeah, the inner coaching process, whether it's one-to-one or in a group setting, the reason another human being or multiple human beings' presence is so important and so valuable is, well, there's many. I'll see how I can cover them here. First and foremost, when we shut something out of our awareness because we were shamed for it, made wrong for it, and we feel ashamed, we dissociate from our body because there's so much pain, right? If I'm suffering abuse and I just want to escape my body, like we can literally use as awareness, we can eject, in a sense, awareness from that area of our body. And that body is suffering and it's recording that pain, and that recording stays in memory. And memory is not just up in our heads. Memory is a total mind-body experience. And I think that's a lot of our training, our education, I should say, in school has us think like memory and thought, like everything's in the thought realm and memory's up here, and it all has to do with the brain. And what ends up happening is we start to orient our self around our head or within our heads, as if that's the central thing. The brain was like this big deal, and the brain is an extremely important organ. It's a tool. You're not your brain. That's not your identity. It's not where your existence actually is. The brain is an interface with the body, and it helps us process information coming into the body and through the senses from the world. And it's an interface to awareness. And a lot of people don't make this distinction. They don't even know this. I think there's even scientists who don't even actually get this, but just think about how simple this is. The brain is an interface to our senses, to the body, and to the world around us. But what is it interfacing with? So it's like a mediator. Here's the brain. Here's the real you, this pure awareness, this pure being over here. And through the brain and through the body, you interface with the world. So the brain mediates communication, and it organizes information between you, awareness that you are, and the world of your body-mind system and the world outside of the body-mind system. And it allows us to interact with it. I have a virtual reality headset, and that virtual reality headset is an interface that gives me access to a whole awesome world. And Colette actually got one too, because she was like, this is cool.
So cool.
So cool. And so it's like that. So the brain gives us this potential, but we have the capacity. Let me say this. We record our memories, not just in our brain, but in our body, all throughout the body, as well as in the brain. And that information, it replays, and it'll react or dramatize again through the body. It's not just all in our head. Everything's not just happening in our head. And that's why somatic awareness is important, becoming aware of the body itself. Emotional awareness is important. What kind of emotions are present? Exploring the effort impulses, becoming aware of that, because these things happen unconsciously, automatically. They're suppressed, they're shut down, we dissociate from them. They become locked away, and we don't want to visit that. We deliberately shut it down. To survive, we shut it down. So now we've done that for so many years, for so long. If I try to go revisit that, it's like, I just don't have the wherewithal. I literally don't have the resources energetically. My potential has been suppressed by suppressing all these parts of me. So my very own individual life potential or life energy or life capacity has been diminished according to the degree of suppression of my own memories, how much pain I've been through and I haven't processed, and how much life I'm kind of avoiding to avoid pain. There's different degrees of suppression of my potential. So I'm operating with a very limited amount of life potential. The minute you have one other person with you, their life potential now can combine with your life potential. And suddenly, where you couldn't break through, where you could not penetrate with awareness into these inner workings of your mind, emotions, and body, suddenly, with that person's intention plus your willingness, there's like this access that's available. And I've never been able to access the deepest things I've needed to on my own. Not even with prayer and meditation and all that. I've gotten to some levels, but when it came to the real stuff that I needed to break through, even with lots of my knowledge and all the skills that I've had in years of working with others, and even myself, when it comes down to it, even recently, I need support because I just can't see what I can't see. And some part of me shutting it out And it's like automatically keeping me out. And it's like, even though some part of me wants to get in, another part of me is stronger and saying, no, sorry, we're shutting this out and we're not letting you in. And it's really frustrating. And I've spent years frustrated, years trying to penetrate areas. And it was only when I started enrolling people to support me as a one-to-one, partner or coach or group that I created, and we were going to do this work together, that I actually started to create the breakthroughs that I was looking for. Their life potential, their life intention, their life, their awareness plus my awareness capacity combines. And so there's a greater degree of light. So let's just say awareness is light. So their light and my light merge now and are working together. That's if the relationship, the coaching relationship or the group relationship, is designed a certain way. The inner coaching sessions are designed such that the coach is with you wholeheartedly, whole-mindedly, whole beingly, if that's a word, but just literally, it's all about you getting a view in. That's our only intent. So for that moment, the inner coach provides you with a tremendous amount of life potential and life awareness or life energy or life light so that you can see what hasn't been available to you before. Anything you want to add to that, Colette, or just going to take a pause there?
Yeah, I mean, that's basically what we're doing. We're being that space for you to look at things without judgment, because we hold that space of non-judgment for you so that you can do it for yourself. And when you hold that space of non-judgment, then you're able to go deeper within, because there's like the shame and all the doubt and the fear, and you can't even get to the root a lot of times, because you have to go through it. And if you're in judgment of even the first part, there's no way you're going to get down to the root. And
I
like
love
Vince
that.
was saying, it's just having that support, having someone there with you that's just like fully present and being with no judgment is just a healing space in itself to allow you to go deeper within. So
Thank you so much for that, Colette, because you really also, so what I was speaking to about the life potential is more of the masculine, I would say, component, right? It's more of the directive and giving towards you in that sense. What Colette just started to reference was the non-judgment. That's the receptive part of the coach, the feminine quality. It is more of the receiver, the opening, the space, the expanse. And so both of those poles, the masculine, the feminine, the positive, the negative, not like good and bad, right or wrong, positive, negative, but just like different polarities of energy and movement of energy. And so one is that we're giving attention and awareness support so that more awareness can come to you. But the other is that when something surfaces, like Colette's pointing out, no matter what it is, you might be in judgment. And oftentimes, I'd say almost every time, our clients have tremendous, and even us included, when we're processing with each other and coaching each other, we have these automatic judgments, these automatic criticisms, these automatic blocks, these automatic walls. This part of us that's a victim, a part of us that's a persecutor, inner critic, part of us that's like the manager, controller, the boss. These different parts show up, and it's like we can be so identified with those parts that we just give in to them. And what we learn to do through inner coaching, what you learn to do as a client, is you start to experience this interest in these different aspects of your consciousness, these different characteristics that show up, and you learn to step out of the judgmental components gently and make room for everything that's there. And so no matter what shows up, it's welcome. And so that's a big part of what we're training you to do. We're training you and guiding you and showing you what the conversation looks like to have with all of these different inner parts of you. It's 100% compassion, 100% accepting, 100% welcoming. And that's just not a regular person's inner experience. There is a lot of conflict going on inside. There's a lot of judgment. There's these parts of you that exist that you believe shouldn't be there, that you don't want there. And so what we start to do is like, well, what if we just start to allow that to be just what it is from it, get curious about it, start to explore it. And we train you on how to soften your view of yourself. And so a lot of people talk about self-love and how important self-love is. And you can certainly take a bath and you can make yourself a good meal and you can go to the spa and all that's great, dealing with the body and a lot of external stuff. But this is more of like that internal graciousness, compassion and internal care. This is where you're starting to really soften the inner world of you. And when you soften that inner world of you, it feels really good.
Absolutely. And we kind of joke that we're like, our whole goal is to make ourselves not needed and to spread this way of being in this training of acceptance and allowance and being a space for other people, so that it's just everywhere.
Mm.
And then we won't need an academy anymore, because everyone will just do this naturally. This is what people are craving. Vince and I talked about this earlier. Like, this is what the world is really craving, is these spaces, these places to really explore ourselves without being judged, with total acceptance, basically. But unfortunately, that's not how most people are in the world. But that is a space that we are for you and our clients. So yeah, do you have anything else to add, or you want to tell them
I want to wrap
work
up
with
with,
us? Or
yeah, I want to wrap up with this last thing, just a contrast between, again, some of what we hear. A lot of our clients come from therapy backgrounds. They've been doing therapy for years. They've had therapy. I've worked with a lot of people who've done it. They're even apprehensive to take on some. They come to like life coaching or coaching because they're like, I've done the therapy walk and it's just not working. And some of what I hear from clients is things like this. I sat with my therapist, I talked about my problems, or I went to a counselor and I shared everything. And I really didn't feel any better. Actually, I felt worse when I came out of it, because I started talking about all my problems and they listened. And I just recently had a conversation yesterday with someone who went to a particular therapist. I was her husband, actually went to a therapist, and his experience was, yeah, they were in agreement with everything I said and they welcomed everything I said, but that was it. There was like no movement. There was no dynamism. He's like, just, that's not what I need. I need someone to help me see, go deeper, like penetrate, like, there's like this dynamism that needs to be there, this movement. Are we making progress here? And I think what inner coaching really brings to the table is like, it is like inner coaching. When you have a personal trainer, there's activity, there's movement, you're doing something. So a lot of therapy sessions are like therapists are sitting there listening, from what I understand. That's what they're doing, like that. And that can be good. It can be helpful to a degree, but there's a lot more proactivity in inner coaching from a lot of what I'm hearing from clients who tell me they've been doing therapy versus this, and why they like this better. So I'm not knocking all therapy. I don't want to piss off therapists when I'm saying this, because there's a lot of good ones out there too. But I get a lot of this for many years, and I've worked in recovery centers who, with professional therapists dealing with addiction and drug and alcohol addiction, and also mental health disorders, and finding that I was constantly being told that I was way more effective by the clients and the owners of the company, particularly. And the therapists were actually praising me, coming in, telling me that their clients were opening up to them now. And they're coming into my rooms to see what I'm doing. Like, what's the difference between how I'm dealing with them versus how they're dealing with them and relating to them. And there is a difference. We come as human beings. We connect with you as real people, and we connect with what's really going on in your world. So it's really important for us to do that. We meet you as equals. We don't meet you as a coach-client relationship. We meet you as a human to human. As my mentor, Evan Pagan, defined, his best definition of a coach is that a coach is a professional friend. And I really love that, because I believe that's what we embody here. And I know Colette lives that out with her clients, and so do I. Like, you're friends to us. In fact, some of my clients, I would say, tell them, they're more like family to me. It's an enriching family experience. So that's a little bit about inner coaching, the territory, the terrain, some of the differences between some types of therapy, not all types of therapy. But if therapy hasn't been working for you and you're looking for something that can make a radical difference for you, that's more proactive, that empowers you, that's not about finding out what's wrong with you, but it's all about you figuring out what's actually been going on, what's been working, and that nothing's wrong with any of it. If that intrigues you, and you feel vibrantly alive, like and resonant, like with what I'm saying, like, yeah, that speaks to me, then you definitely want to reach out to us and let us know. You can check out innercoachingacademy.com, but the website's actually not at this stage, at this time, and we're September 1st right now, 2021. New website's being developed. So there's some contact info there. You can definitely get in touch with me, or send an email to us you can send an email to me at vince@innercoachingacademy.com. And other ways that they could connect with us, Colette, that you want to share?
Well, our Facebook group. So we have a
Facebook
Facebook group, the Inner Coaching community. So please join that. We'd love to have you in there. And you can reach out to us via Facebook, LinkedIn. I mean, any of our
Yeah,
social
I'll give
media
I just
channels.
updated the URL for the Facebook group. So it's facebook.com/groups/Inner Coaching Academy. So you could just search for Inner Coaching Academy and jump into our group, and you can get access to the free 5-day course that I put together. It's called the Work Accelerator Challenge, and it's not really challenging at all, other than to sit and get some really good information. I'm going to go into a lot more detail about what inner coaching is, and you'll get some guided processes each day, a guided process every day that will take you into the inner world with me leading you. And you'll get a taste of what it can be like to explore your inner world. It's very relaxing, very calming. I've gotten great feedback from everyone who's participated in it. So check that out. It's free. We'd love to share that with you.
And we do offer a free 30-minute consultation as well. So if you're just curious if this is a good fit for you, if you are looking to make changes in your life, or just understand yourself better and really give yourself a whole new level of space and being, reach out to us and
Yeah, absolutely.
we'd love to talk to you.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's a great way for us to just share a little bit more about you, hear about your situation, tell you what our thought is about how we would work with you. And then you find out, like, our approach is very gentle. It's very inviting, and we support your choice, whatever that is. That one of the premises of inner coaching is that there's no coercion. There's no forcing anyone to do anything. This is all about leading people back to their own responsibility and power of choice and freedom. So that includes even when we're in a conversation with a possibility of, selling coaching. Like, it's got to work for you. It's got to make sense for you. So we lead with our hearts inside of those conversations. So I want you to feel rest assured, there's no obligation to buy anything from us. But if you do feel like, hey, this could be something you are interested in and you want to explore it further, we'd love to make that feel as welcoming and inviting as possible. So yeah, thank you for that, Colette. I think with that, we'll wrap it up. Got to go to the gym time, take care of my physical body. Colette, I appreciate you so much. I love doing this with you. You've helped me grow this and grow myself even. And Colette's an amazing coach, by the way. She's provided so much space for me to process so many different things. There's literally nothing I can't share with her. I've never received any judgment. She is just a all-around invitation for whatever's going on in my inner world. So I can definitely vouch for her. And I provide the same experience for people. And it's so healing and refreshing to be able to have that level of conversation with someone. So we invite you to inner coaching. And for those of you who may be coaches or considering being a coach, who are interested in learning this work, we're also about to open up the Inner Coaching Academy 1-year mentoring program, licensing program. And that's coming soon and opening up around October. And that's a great way for you to get a lot of personal development work, but also get licensed and trained inside of our tool system, our methodology, plus business coaching and training and systems and tools that you can use to manage your prospects and clients and go out there in the world, get lots of accountability to be taking action every day, every week, every month for an entire year to build your business. So our ask is that whatever your investment is into the academy financially, that you would make a minimum commitment to doubling that, which when you see the numbers, you'll think, oh, of course I could do that. And if that doesn't feel right to you, it wouldn't make sense. But yeah, our commitment is that you would multiply your income as well as your impact through what we're serving you with there. And we'll talk more with you about that as we're starting to roll that out. But thank you for watching or listening.
And thank you for the acknowledgement, Vince. I feel the same way about you. And if you're listening to this, knowing somebody who could use this, who's going through a challenge, job change, relationship change, and you're like, oh, wow, this would really help someone, please share it, and like and subscribe to our channel. And we're just really excited.
Comments would be great.
Yeah, love to
feedback.
Hear feedback.
What did you think? What did you hear? Does this make sense to you? Is it missing for you? Anything at all? Criticisms even, who cares? Like, we just would love to hear it. If I upset you at all in any way by anything I said, let me know. I care very much about your perspective and you matter to me regardless. So thank you for sharing that, Colette. Thank you guys for watching and listening. And we'll see you in the next one.
Yep.
Blessings.
Thank you. Bye, guys.
Bye.